Welcome, ladies and gentlemen. Today here we have Brenda Windberg, a published writer, a story development coach, and an independent book editor with Free Expressions Literary Services. She's a writer's instructor and published for nearly 2 decades. I can't even read. As a ghostwriter, ghostwriter. Fiction, nonfiction editor, and award-winning feature writer. Brenda has managed to her first ever indie literature competition. What was that about? Meanwhile, I do want to thank you for that a lot. You were a great addition and great help with us. So tell us what we can expect to see today.
Well, right now we're just going to chat with some writers about their journey in publishing and some marketing tips for all of you prospective writers, anyone who's interested in how this works and how they do what they do. Hi there. Okay, so first question, I'm going to ask, what led you to the indie author path, and why did it end up being the right one for you? Jade, would you like to start us off?
Okay, sure. Nona, she dragged me kicking and screaming to write in our first book that we wrote together. So I'll just pass it to her and she'll finish it.
Okay, so I was published at age 10. It was quite fun and quite nice. And then I could not imagine it. I couldn't get Random House to publish me at age 11, and I got a little ticked off. And so now I'm here and I'm an indie publisher. Now, before this, I did own my own publishing house, way back in the day. But now that it's a lot easier, I became an indie published author instead of being the one who's publishing indie. And I've enjoyed it because it gives you freedom. And I get to do a lot of things that other authors traditionally go, I wish I could do that. And I'm like, I know those contracts, right? Yeah, I don't have that.
Thank you. We all wish for those, don't we? Someone over here? Adriana, want to tell us what?
Yeah, so I was always shy to publish my work, thinking it wasn't good enough. So I was like, you know what, it's time for me to maybe do some self-publishing, non-traditional publishing. And then from there, I published not only one, but 2 books. The Taxi, which was my first book, I published on Lulu.com. And I had my brother, Jake Estrada. He did the cover for me. And then I did a non-traditional publisher for my children's book, Deborah Rescues Hope. So it was, a little different, but, no contracts where, I can do my own thing. Attend any event and stuff like that. So I always say it's good to check out, what's good for you, what you feel like, you're most comfortable with.
Great, thank you. I did forget to say, because I just jumped right in there, that as you guys answer the question, introduce yourselves, because we have a big group here and it would take a long time to do introductions, and let people know what you write, okay? Because indie authors are solely responsible for their own success, I would love to know what your process is for kind of defining and tracking that success. Go down here to Joanne.
Hi everybody, I'm Joanne Fisher from Joanne's Books. So defining my success, what I like to do is I'm all over the place on social media. So you Google Joanne Fisher author and you'll find me everywhere. That is what I like to do. I like to make short videos, and I just like to present my books. I do a lot of memes. Just everything that I possibly can to sell those books. And when we sell those books, we also like to get those stars on Amazon. So don't forget to review your favorite author on Amazon. We really, really appreciate those gold stars.
That's a good point. JD, you want to add to that?
Well, when I decided to self-publish, I wasn't sure how it would go, and so I just went out there. By the way, I'm the author of The Hunt Chronicles. It's a best-selling horror novel on Amazon. I just started getting into social media a lot, and really, you get in there in these groups, especially in horror fiction, where you just talk to people and they get to know you. If you just go out there, please buy my book, they don't buy your book. At the end of the day, though, you have to have a good story. When someone buys your book and it isn't good, they're gonna low star you, and everybody else in these social media groups are going to ignore you. So you have to have that good story, and then you have to be out there talking to people. You don't have a big publisher behind you, but if your story's good and you're talking to the right people in this new social media world we have, you can do great. That's how it worked for me.
Okay, now I'd like to know the best piece of marketing advice you've either received or developed on your own based on what you were doing. No? Okay. Okay, Kenny, how about you? The best piece of marketing advice that you've received or figured out on your own.
Wow, I've received all kinds of advice, but no, I would say just believe in what you're doing and go for it. I mean, whatever you want to do can be accomplished with all the media that's out there now. I mean, for me, I feel I'm not really qualified as these guys. I mean, I didn't even really write a book. I just put a bunch of recipes together for a charity. But I also did a movie independently and got it into Walmart, Netflix, and things like that. But just believe in what you're doing. And the thing about social media, it's good and bad. I mean, for me, social media is great because I didn't have this in the 80s and 90s. And now that we have it, everybody can be heard. And what's good about that is everybody can be heard. What's bad about that is everybody can be heard. So you have to find your little niche and go that direction. For me, I'm an 80s rock guy, obviously, right? I worked hard to look like this, but I go for that market. I don't really know. I mean, just anything you want to do, you can do. So, I want to do a radio station. I got a radio gig. I want to do a movie. I did a movie. I want to do a cookbook. You just got to keep trying and do what you believe in.
Anything to add?
LA Garestro, the bus ride back. My secret marketing scheme was actually my agent, my wife, and we created a Facebook page, and she took it from there, and she responds to every hit that comes on that, and day and night, and just gets a conversation. I think someone mentioned that, just gets a conversation going with everyone, and we've been pretty fortunate as far as the people that have noticed us. Here we get first place nonfiction, and Midwest book review. I got a hold of our book, and, which was a memoir of my life, 40 years in the making. I'm a little over 40. I was there in the 80s. And anyway, that's my secret marketing weapon that I used.
Okay. Anyone else have a great tip they want to share? Okay, ladies.
Don't be afraid to make a spectacle of yourself.
I think you know that we did this because, obviously. We don't have on the fascinators, but we made a spectacle. But my advice is to think outside of the box. And most people say think outside of the box. And no. If you can see the edges of the box, you haven't thought far enough. So, for us, I was thinking one day, and I went, how do people sell things? And I go, they get television shows. And I went, I should do that. And that really kicked our numbers up. We got our own television show. And it kicked our numbers up, and I'm happy now. And if you guys can do it, do it. Because you'll find an audience that nobody else is there. And your books are in the background, and your book is on the side, and you're chilling on the beach, and you're reading your own book. And but they're loving it, and they're looking at your life, looking at something other than your book. But because they keep seeing it every episode, guess what they buy? Your book.
Excellent. Okay, so let's talk about branding a little bit. How you accomplish it, how important it is to your overall strategy. Chris?
All right. My name's Christina Kroll-Reed. I'm an author, an artist, and I'm a certified laughter leader through the World Laughter Tour. I write adult humor, and I say adult humor, not porn. It is not porn. It's I write memoir and I write humor, and I don't think you can have one without the other. So I also write about life's little absurdities, like the fact that I've twice been struck by lightning. So I have a pretty good story base. Yeah. You're safe. Really, it's fine. The branding aspect of marketing books that are self-published or independently published. I went into independent publishing because I was running out of time. I write about aging and some of the joys of that are inherent in getting control of your life and losing control of your bladder. So I wrote a whole series that started out. It's called the Amish Crack House series. The first book is The Incontinental Divide. The second book is Pet My Pretty Lizard, and the third book is Maybe Spinach Doesn't Like You Either. It's just a series of books about my life, but also about some of the healing powers of laughter. So to that end, my brand, everything about my brand has something to do with the therapeutic value of laughter and humor. Not everything is funny, and most humor is based in something uncomfortable or painful, but the brand incorporates always something about laughing. I also have, in addition to an interesting story, I have a really weird maiden name. It's Crawl, as in crawl. So my website and my email address is crawlspace. It's easy to remember. You can get to it even if you spell it incorrectly, which most people do. The brand is important, especially because I'm really lazy at every other aspect of marketing. So if I can put my name out there, let everybody know that something about it is going to be funny, and associate it with being struck by lightning, which everyone is fascinated with, that's the branding market, or the branding avenue that I went down.
Thank you. Now, Ron, you have kind of a specific message you're going for in your books, right?
Yeah, my name is Ron Lewis. I write YA novels, mostly mysteries and adventures. I taught for 40 years, and as a teacher, I would teach my students life skills on how to succeed, how to overcome obstacles, how to think positive, and how a single thought can change your entire life. So in all of my mysteries and adventures, I put that in there, and I go with the EIEIO, the encourage, inspire, empower, invest positive words in your life, and you can overcome everything. So even though it's wild adventures and crazy science fiction type stories, every one of them has life-building skills woven neatly into the books, and I give all of my books away to charity. So my books that I have over there right now, every book, everything I sell goes to Nana's house, and all the royalties go to Nana's house, and my other books as well. I give them away to schools and go in and I talk to schools. So that's kind of my branding thing. I get into the schools, I talk to the kids, I talk to the folks at AMI, which is a school for students who have been in trouble with the law and are there trying to change their lives. So mine is kind of a message on lifting yourself up and changing your mind and succeeding in life and knowing that you can do anything if you want to.
Thank you so much. Judy, how about you? Is branding something you work hard at?
Oh, yes. I'm still, but the thing about it is that I'm still learning it. When I first started, it was like everyone had something going on, and it was, okay, where do I fit into this space? And it was about figuring out what made you different from, or what made me different from what everyone else is doing. For example, I'm a therapist, so my books are generally in that self-help category, but that, from what I understand, is a multi-billion-dollar industry, and you can't turn around without finding a self-help book. So I had to find what would make me different, and what makes me different is that all of them tell you, hey, you can do this, you got this, blah, 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 think positive. And to me, it's like, yeah, if I knew how to do it, I would have done it already. So what made me different was that instead of telling people, hey, you can do this, or this is good, this is that, I start showing, okay, this is how you do it. So I started putting myself in that space of, hey, I don't tell people what they can do. I tell people how to make things happen, how to do things differently. And over time, it has become pretty much my thing. Like, my first book was, hey, this is how you get a dissertation done. And then I go into these other books, and this is how you change behavior. This is how you make you do a mind shift, because everyone else is telling you, hey, you should do that. It's a really good thing to do. But it's like, okay, now what? So that has been my goal and my path, and over the last 10 years, really working on being that person who, instead of showing people how to do it, instead of telling people to do it, just show them how to do it. And I think that has really made a difference. It's just about figuring out what everyone else is doing and what you can do that's different from them.
Thank you. Okay, so as writers, we all understand how important a writer's community is. And I'm interested in knowing if that's been important in your journeys and how you go about finding it and supporting it. Adriana, introduce yourself too. You didn't get to.
Yeah, I'm Adriana Estrada. I'm a writer of The Taxi and of the children's book Deborah Rescues Hope. To really get your writing out there, it's always good to have some other person or other people to look at your work, even if it's just a section of it. That way you can get some feedback, whether it be, feedback maybe you didn't want to hear, or feedback that, you thought it wasn't as good as you thought it would be. So even if it's not like a writer's group, I know a lot of people like writer's group, maybe you have a co-worker, they're going to be truthful to you. Somebody who's going to tell you the truth is always important. That way they can tell you, well, wait a minute, what happened here? I got confused. Can you explain that to me? Or it could be, when you attend an event, like I go to different events, maybe have someone else tell me, or if you read one of your reviews online, and maybe it wasn't, as good as you thought it would be, or maybe even better.
Great, thank you. Anyone else have tips?
One of the things I always that helped me out a lot, I think, was when I would join these social media groups. Mainly, I would focus on author groups, and I joined a couple really good ones. And one of the things that I think helped with my success was I joined this one group, and we all talk, and a bunch of authors, and we're all veterans, and we just have a good time. And at the same time, hey, let's put an anthology together. We'll all put little short stories together of horror stories. And it doesn't have to be horror, whatever genre you're writing in. You find these author groups online, and you guys put together anthologies. Some of these names are bigger than you. And I think that's what happened with me, was I got with a really big author in my genre. And, he liked my story a lot. He made it the headlining story and the anthology, and I just blew up. And so getting involved in these groups, and you can even be the one to put the anthology together with a bunch of other authors in your group. And that's one way these, being part of author groups can really help you out.
Joanne?
Thank you. I am also part of an author group. I'm actually the president of the Space Coast Writers Guild. And I joined them a couple of years ago because I was just starting out, didn't have a clue about the industry, and they really helped me a lot. I mean, there was my fellow authors who were saying, try doing this, suggestions on branding, suggestions on marketing, and they have great speakers that, have years and years and years of experience of the industry, and you learn so much. So I encourage you, if you want to write, join an authors group. The Space Coast Writers Guild also does anthology. We do one per year, and every author, participates. And it's not about the sales. It's about getting your name out there and getting your genre out there, and just getting known. Branding. It's all about that. So, and everybody in the group will help you to establish yourself. So, and now look, I'm president, and it's just like it's a wonderful honor for me to be there. So if you guys have any interest, visit my table, and we'll get you written up for that. Okay? Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, one final question. I'm gonna come down to this side now. What would you say is the best marketing approach in terms of return on investment for you?
LA restaurant, the bus ride back. I don't know. I got to think about it. A little something about the other question. You reply to that real quick. Having beta readers worked out real well for us. My wife had a beauty salon, high-end beauty salon in Atlanta for 20 years, and so we sold it when we came back down to Florida, and so we had a built-in base of several hundred people, of which we pulled about 40 or 50 out to do our beta reading, of which we knew these people for probably 10, 15, 20 years. So we knew who was responding to our, to what we'd written. And that was probably the most important thing, was translating what they were saying to us in terms of who they were and how they would weight things that they read, so we could better understand and be more realistic with the feedback that we were getting. Because whenever you give somebody a book that knows you and stuff, they're going to flatter you, they're going to say good things and stuff like that. You've got to sort of really translate it and sift through, what they're saying and try to understand who they are and how they talk about things and how they weight things and how it applies to what they're reading and their feedback that they give you. And that worked quite well for us. But yeah, the marketing, probably the best marketing was our cover. We did our cover ourselves, and I looked at it and I could just imagine what it would look like if a professional did it. And so we had a professional do it, and we hired Palmetto Publishing, and they did a lot of our a la carte work, our edits, our formatting, and our book cover. And Lance Buckley did our book cover. It was just amazing what he had taken with the idea, that I had, and how he ran with it and brought it, 2 orders of magnitude better. And that was a big step forward. And then, of course, using Palmetto Publishing and their networking and stuff.
Great, thanks. Kenny, what's been the most successful marketing approach?
Coming to IndieCon.
Excellent answer. Anyone else have anything that was particularly successful in terms of marketing? Did you guys introduce yourself?
Hi, I'm Winona. And I'm Babe. We're the And I Thought ladies. We write the And I Thought series of Misfit Guides. And wait, I think I have my return on investment.
Oh yeah, I think we might have it.
This bad boy got us everywhere. So we came up with the idea that there weren't anything to display hot artists and hot authors. So we did it ourselves.
Hot authors though. Because Winona's like, I'm cute, I want to be on a list. Why isn't there a list? Okay, we'll make it ourselves.
So we made it ourselves. This magazine featured people from 4 continents, and we ended up being on 4 continents. And guess what's inside this magazine? Lots and lots of advertisement for our books and our wine and everything else. But anyway, yeah, that's what was the best return on investment for us. Everything else is kind of nice to have, but this bad boy moves every year.
Excellent. Judy, how about you?
I think the best return for me was really now you got me thinking in front of people. I think it was when I first started, I had a few people who got the book that I just shared it with. I just went out and say, hey, I wrote this, look at it. And the feedback they gave me was invaluable, and it helped me figure out where to go or what to do. And then they actually went and shared the book and shared information with people. And the other part of it for me is that the books are written not so much to write books, but like my books are the stuff that I work with clients. I don't think I mentioned I'm a licensed clinical social worker, so my primary work is that of a therapist. So when I write the stuff that I help my clients figure out. That whole process of getting from where you are to where you want to be, and learning that and incorporating that, I think has been the best thing for me, because once I've done that, then the client, I tell my clients to read the book, and they read it and they tell other people about it. They don't say my therapist wrote this. They just say, hey, this is the book you should read. But taking the time to incorporate that, making it very practical and hands-on and actionable, I think that has been the best thing for me.
Okay. Well, for anyone on this side, as we wrap up, Chris?
I just wanted to remind people about writers' workshops and the various networking opportunities. I do a lot of open mics, not so much stand-up comedy, but anytime there's an open mic for prose or poetry readings, anything like that. I don't write poetry either, but on the Gulf Coast, we have a few organizations that offer lots of opportunities to network with other authors, but to also just get out in the community and meet people. And for every person that you reach, they can reach out to somebody else, and so on and so on. But at a writer's workshop, not only can you hone your craft, and it's a really supportive environment, especially if you end up with people teaching at those workshops like Brenda and her business partner Lauren, people like the entity of Free Expressions. That was where I came into the writers community here in Florida. But yeah, open mic nights work well for me, because I can put my stuff out there, and if it flies, great. If it sinks, oh, too bad. I won't put that in the book. Then critique groups, like I said, each person you reach, they can reach out to two more, and so on and so on. It's a nice way to build a chain.
Excellent. Well, I think we're pretty much out of time here, but I want to thank the amazing panel. And the goal of this is just to start conversations for all of you. All of our authors have tables over here, so feel free to come on over and continue the conversations, bring them questions, find out about how they do what they do. Thank you, everyone. And thank you all.